Hello and welcome to the NPTEL MOOCs course on Foundation for Virtual and Augmented Reality System. We are currently discussing definitions as part of lecture 3 and we will continue with that lecture. Previously we talked about definition of virtual reality, from which we have identified few characteristics of VR. Now in this lecture we are going to do the same for AR, augmented reality. So we will be learning the definition of AR. Also we will touch upon the definition of MR or mixed reality and see the relationship between them. And finally we will talk about the difference between AR and VR systems. While learning the definition of AR, of course, like VR, we will learn about the defining characteristics of any AR system. Now like VR, AR also is a combination of two terms, augmented and reality. Reality already we have seen what is the definition of it. Augmented, of course, when we are adding something to our sense of reality. Now together, like before, we can go by the definition of augmented reality as per the dictionary. So what is augmented reality? Like virtual reality, we are using here dictionary definition, Merriam-Webster dictionary, which says that augmented reality is an enhanced version of reality created by the use of technology to overlay digital information on an image of something being viewed through a device. We will see what this definition implies. Just to say it again, an enhanced version of reality. So we are enhancing the reality. This enhanced version is created by the use of technology. Here we are primarily referring to computer technology. Now how the enhancement is being done? To overlay digital information. So we are overlaying digital information on a representation of reality or an image of reality that is being viewed through a device, that is a technology aid. Now that is a definition which does not help us much in identifying important characteristics. We can get those characteristics from another systemic definition which was proposed in a paper. At the end I will refer to that paper. So according to this systemic definition, which we have partly seen earlier, AR system should have three characteristics. What are these three characteristics? Number one, it should combine real with virtual, that is enhancement of reality. Number two is it must be interactive in real time. So we are combining some virtual thing with our real world view and we should be able to interact with that digital content being added to the real world view in real time. So whatever we do should be reflected immediately. And thirdly, it must be registered in 3D. Now let us try to break down the definition like we have done in our earlier case, that is try to identify by breaking down the definition the broad aspects that define AR system. So first thing is reality enhanced by using technology, and this enhancement is overlaying digital information on real world image. That is the broad aspect, or rather one of the important characteristics of any AR system, a reality that must be enhanced by some technological use. Here specifically we are referring to computer technology, and this enhancement is basically overlaying of digital content, digital information on real world images. Now this enhancement must be registered in 3D. for seamless mixing with the real world. What it means is that when we are enhancing the digital content on the real world representation viewed through a device, this digital content should not appear randomly at random places. Instead, it should appear at the appropriate place, which makes it apparent that, or which lets the user believe that this particular digital content belongs there. So, essentially the placement must be very appropriate so that it seamlessly mixes with the real world objects. Another important thing that is part of dictionary definition, may not be part of systemic definition, is that whatever we are enhancing, that enhancements must be experienced with sensory organs. So, we should be able to understand what is happening with these digital enhancements. Unless we, that is quite obvious, unless we are able to understand that, we will not be able to understand augmented reality or perceive augmented reality. The other important consideration is that interaction. So, the system must support interaction for experiencing enhanced reality. So, we are enhancing the reality by adding digital content. A user should be able to interact with that digital content in that enhanced environment, not separately, in that enhanced environment only, so that the user gets the feel of being in reality at all the times. So, going by this breakdown and this understanding, we can summarize AR system characteristics. So, there are broadly 4 characteristics as we have discussed previously. Number 1, real world enhanced, that means we are enhancing the real world with computer generated information, digital content. It can be image, video, text, anything. Now, enhancement is registered in 3D, that means whenever this enhancement is being done, it should appear at its appropriate place, it should not appear randomly on the device. Now, this enhancement is experienced through our sensory organs. This is of course one of the obvious part of the characteristics. And finally, interaction. So, the digital enhancement must support interaction by the user. So, these are the 4 characteristics. So, for VR we have seen 3 characteristics, for AR we are seeing 4 characteristics. Like VR, we can understand AR system by checking against these characteristics. So, given any system, we should check the characteristics one by one to see if the system is an AR system or not. Like the previous case, here also, if all the 4 characteristics are satisfied, then only we can call that system to be an AR or augmented reality system. If it is not the case, at least one is not satisfying, then we cannot call it an AR system. Now, let us have a quick look at the difference between these 2 types of systems, VR system and AR system. Broadly, the difference is that AR alters the ongoing perception of the real world. So, when we are saying that it is an augmented reality system, that means we are referring to the fact that our sense of real world is being altered. Whereas, when we are saying that we are experiencing a virtual reality system, essentially what we are referring to is that our sense of reality is completely replaced by the virtual environment. So, in case of AR, we are altering the sense of reality. In case of VR, we are completely replacing our sense of reality, or rather perception of the real world. That is the main difference between these two systems, two types of systems. Let us try to understand with respect to one example. The scenario is a walkthrough simulation of the inside of a new building. Now, suppose there is a new building coming up. I want to explore the building. Although all parts of the building may not be ready at this moment, I can still explore it in VR. So, VR does not require the building to even exist. Without existence of a physical object, we can explore different aspects of the object only in VR, because we are creating a virtual environment. It does not require anything related to reality. That is not possible with AR. Now, if I want to explore the same place using AR technology, AR system, then first assumption is the building must exist. Then only we can explore the place and see different things. What kind of things we can see? Say, if we are using an AR app, we can see placement of different furniture at different places in a room of an upcoming apartment building. The furniture may not exist, that can appear as a digital content on the real world view of the room, inside of the room. As shown in this image, that is, one object appeared at this spot where in reality there is nothing here. So, to experience AR or MR, physical existence of building is must. That is not the case with VR. And we can superimpose extra information over the building space, as we have seen in our earlier discussion on different AR system categories, that superimposition is one of the categories, one of the AR system categories, which can be used to decide which furniture to place where, or that type of things. So, I hope this example makes it clear what is the difference between a VR system and an AR system. Now, let us focus a little bit on MR, the third term that we are using, we have so far used. MR stands for mixed reality. So, we have so far discussed definition of augmented reality, we have discussed definition of virtual reality. Let us now try to define MR or mixed reality. Mixed reality is also a very popular term nowadays, like VR or AR. The unfortunate fact is, according to the literature on this subject, there is no agreement. I repeat, there is no agreement among practitioners on what exactly is MR. So, there is no agreement on the precise definition of the term MR. Let us see few variants of the definition that are there, that are being used in practice to develop MR system or to do research in MR. If we go by the dictionary definition like we have done before, we can say that mixed reality is a medium consisting of immersive experience, consisting of immersive computer generated environments in which elements of physical and virtual environments are combined. But this definition is not very categorical on how this is different from definition of, say, VR or AR. So, there is an element of confusion in the dictionary definition. Now, there are few other definitions available. MR is everything in between the two extremes in the reality virtuality continuum. So, recollect our earlier discussion on this reality virtuality continuum. On one extreme is real environment, on the other extreme is virtual environment. In between whatever is there, we can call everything to be MR. So, this definition of course includes the term AR into the broader definition of MR. So, AR is nothing but MR as per this definition. Sometimes mixed reality is also defined as a combination of AR and VR. In this case, MR denotes the capability to combine both technologies AR and VR in the same app or on the same device. So, this is from the point of view of developers. When we are combining the technologies of AR and the technologies of VR in the single app to give the user some sort of experience, then that type of applications we can call MR or mixed reality. Yet another definition is MR is nothing but a strong AR. Now, the term strong of course is confusing. Now, as per this definition, MR is a more capable version of AR. Where an advanced understanding of the physical environment is there, which might be bound to specific hardware. More capable version of AR is the main thing here. So, this is another definition of MR. Finally, many people have also used these two terms interchangeably. That means, MR is nothing but a synonym for AR. So, there is no confusion with this definition. If we simply assume MR and AR to be the same, whatever is MR, the same is AR. In both the cases, we are viewing reality, which is augmented or enhanced with digital content overlaid on our view of reality and with which we can interact with. So, in other words, MR is simply a different term for AR. So, these are popular ways of defining MR, whatever we have discussed so far. Now, if we go through all these definitions, we will see that most of the definitions are confusing in nature, and it is actually, this controversy is not required for our purpose here. We do not need to go into the nitty-gritty of each and every definition. Instead, we can simply ignore the differences between AR and VR. That will not affect any discussion that we are going to have in this course. So, we will be assuming the same here. In subsequent lectures, we shall use the terms interchangeably. We will assume that MR is nothing but another term for AR. So, AR and MR represents the same technology. With that assumption, we will proceed in subsequent lectures. So, in summary, let us quickly recollect what we have covered in this lecture. So, here we have learned the definitions of virtual reality, augmented reality, and also talked about various definitions of mixed reality. However, we are assuming that mixed reality is nothing but another term for AR. So, AR and MR refer to same technology, an idea that is shared by many practitioners in the field, if not all. So, we will be assuming that for simplicity in our subsequent discussion. Now, based on these definitions, we have identified key characteristics of VR systems, of AR systems, and based on these characteristics, we can easily identify what is a VR system, just check the characteristics. Similarly, we can easily identify what is an AR system just by checking their characteristics. And also, we have touched upon the main difference between VR and AR system. To recollect, VR systems are the ones which completely replaces our perception of reality, whereas AR systems are the ones which augments or enhances our sense of reality. With that, we have come to the end of this lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss in brief the historical evolution of these technology areas, these fields. So, the references are here. As you can see, I have made use of two references for this topic. Now, the MR definitions you can find in this second reference, different definitions are mentioned, and we have zeroed in on the simplest of them all, that is AR and MR are the same. First one is the one from where that systemic definition of AR is taken, that is the three key characteristics of AR. So, I recommend that you go through these references for more details. So, that is all for this lecture. I hope you have understood the concepts and enjoyed the content. Next lecture we are going to talk about history, historical evolution. So, looking forward to meet you all in the next lecture. Thank you. Happy learning.